Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Broto Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host for today, Michael. Tim has parent-teacher conferences, teacher life, so he is not going to make it today. But don't worry, I'm not alone. We have the incomparable Santiago Casanova, or as you know him, Cass, to the Broto fam here with me today. Very excited to have Cass here, the mastermind behind the app. Speaking about the app, the Fantasy Football by Broto app, available on Androids, iPhones, whatever phone you use, it is available in the App Store. Everything you need to dominate fantasy football: exclusive stats, true values, true matchup rank, which is like it's legitimately just a cheat code for tight end specifically, but all of the positions. You can't find it anywhere else. So make sure you take advantage of true matchup rank. Today we have a fun episode as well. News and notes will be coming to you, of course. Then we're also going to do a fact or fiction based on players' outlooks moving forward. Guys like Jalen Warren, CJ Stroud, just to name a couple. And then, rankings and mailbag questions as well. So with that being said, why don't we get this started?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broto Fantasy Football Podcast presented by BrotoFantasy.com and the Fantasy Football by Broto app, the only tool you need to dominate fantasy football.
All right. Cass, how do you do, brother?
I'm doing all right. How are you? How's everyone?
I'm good, man. Things are well. Nice to see you here.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
always
this
a
is my
pleasure when you
first this season. Yeah.
during the season. Yeah, you were on a few heat waves, which was awesome
Yeah.
during
Oh
the,
yeah, heat
the
wave for sure.
preseason.
But
Yeah, it's always nice getting you on the pod. There's also a nice
fire.
Thursday night game going on today with
Oh
the
yeah,
Bengals and Ravens, division rivals. I wouldn't
promising.
say must win for either team, but definitely a big game for both teams. So
Yeah.
let's see how that goes. No T Higgins for the Bengals, I guess, is the first set of news we could start with, but everyone kind of knew there was going to be no T Higgins. It's always so lame when a player like T Higgins who was perfectly fine, and then in practice injures his hamstring, and then he's just out multiple weeks,
Yeah,
and
man.
that's the absolute worst. But with that being said, let's jump right into the news and notes here. The first one we got here is Puka Nakua upgraded to a full practice, so he's going to be back this week with Matt Stafford as well. As we know, Puka and Cup have had a couple tougher weeks of late, even with Matt Stafford, but then like with Brett Rippon, and now they're not going to need to use Carson Wentz, it seems like. But are
Hmm.
you just inserting Puka Nakua back into your lineup?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Mm,
I
Yeah, I
feel the
mean,
same
yeah.
way.
Not even thinking about it.
Yeah, I think people are going a little bit too hard trying to look into like the nooks and crannies of the Rams. Just play Cup and Nakua. Tyler Lockett, a hamstring, similar to what we just mentioned about T. Higgins, sidelined for Thursday's practice and Wednesday's practice. He's also a veteran who takes off days, so I do think Friday is going to be more telling for Tyler Lockett, but certainly not ideal for him to be missing Wednesday and Thursday's practice. If he's unable to go, I do think JSN becomes a top 30-ish, maybe top 24-ish wide receiver in that offense. Because I mean he's already been on the rise over these last few weeks, but Tyler Lockett is a big target commander. So if he's not there, I'm certain JSN will receive a nice portion of those touches as well.
Yeah. And some breaking news that is gonna be old news for when people listen to this or watch this. But Mark Andrews is down, and
Oh
that's
boy.
not looking great.
Oof. Not a good not a thing Mark Andrews managers want to hear. You have Mark
No,
Andrews in our league, right?
I do. I do.
You do.
Yeah. First
And
place, by the way,
and
to
Lamar
everyone listening.
Jackson? You have a
I
stack,
do as
right?
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the stack.
Oof, that's rough for you. If Mark Andrews has to miss time.
Yeah. Fuck.
I had to deal
Hopefully
with
not.
a Darren Waller injury. That damn
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Christian Watson limited for Thursday's practice, but he's been limited all season, but playing. He's just been so much worse this year without Aaron Rodgers, though. I mean, he's losing targets to Jaden Reed now, like Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dubs. Like it's been a Luke Musgrave. It's been a complete mess for Christian Watson. Do you think last year was like a flash in the pan for Watson with Aaron Rodgers, and like this is more of who he is, or what do you see moving forward with Christian Watson?
I mean, we got to take the Rodgers factor into account for one, because you go from playing with a great quarterback, one of the all-time greats, if I'm allowed to say that, versus Jordan Love, who is not terrible, but he's not good. He's not Hall of Fame level good.
Yeah,
And the fact that he's just losing targets, it just means that he wasn't special and he was being lifted by the quarterback. Right now, I think we see more of what we can expect because like none of those Green Bay wide receivers have been awesome. Like
hmm
Reed has been getting consistent targets, but like mid-level performance. It's not like we have one emergence in that team. It's just they've all been kind of mid.
yeah,
So Christian
yeah,
Watson is that type of player at the end of the day.
yeah. And it's tough that he can't like you were mentioning mid-level players. He's been unable to outshine guys like Romeo Dubs and
Yeah,
Jaden Reed, which is not a great
mid
sign.
level.
Yeah. Moving on to Minnesota, where there's two concussed players. KJ Osborne missed last week's injury, but he was actually cleared from the concussion protocol last week, but they just want to play it safe with him. And
Mm,
he's going to be back this week, which makes me more concerned about Alexander Madison, who was limited in Thursday's practice, which is encouraging. They do play Sunday night, but they did, like I mentioned, they did hold KJ Osborne out. And now
yeah.
you have Alexander Madison and it's a Sunday night game, which makes it a lot tougher for managers. Hopefully, we know by Saturday night or Sunday morning as Gus Edwards scores the first touchdown of the game. If Alexander Madison's unable to go, Ty Chandler would be the lead back, presumably.
Yep.
Um, where would you rank Ty Chandler among running backs this week if Madison were to be out? Because it's a tremendous matchup against the Denver Broncos, but it's also the unknown nature of Ty Chandler and
Yeah.
the fact that the Vikings haven't had a running game the entire year, basically.
I mean, I've seen some proponents of Ty Chandler over or Madison, even like saying you should start him anyway over Madison. Like not us, but the Minnesota Vikings.
hmm
So if those people are to be believed, then this would be an upgrade or at least a perfect replacement for Madison in the role. Even more so that he's probably not going to get as vultured by himself. So I don't expect like Nwanu to have a big role. So as of now, I'm acting as if Madison is out in all my leagues. So, for example, I started Keaton Mitchell instead of Madison in one of my leagues with the possibility of plugging him to the flex. I think in terms of ranking, maybe RB3. I'm not super excited about starting him. So like a top level RB3 and RB27, RB30 performance type thing. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think I'd probably rank him somewhere in that area as well. The issue is the Sunday night game and the fact that Denver's so bad, it makes him more enticing. But we've seen these
Yeah.
guys who are so enticing, and they're just kind of shit the bed because they're not great. As
Yeah.
Tim makes a random
Good
appearance
lord.
during
What's
parent
up,
teacher
guys?
conferences. What's up, Tim? We're going through the
Yes.
news and
Yay.
notes.
It's parents teachers conference. I just got off with a really really good student, so it only took me like 2 minutes to be like, "Yo, your student's fire." So now I'm here for the next minute because I have 5 minute
Nice.
intervals. So I just wanted to say hello to my favorite dudes, and
What
I
up, Tim?
miss
What's
I
up?
miss talking fantasy with you guys today, and that's it.
Tim,
Hello.
Nice.
I saw the box pop up, like the StreamYard box that someone was like entering, and I was like, "What's happening right now?"
Oh, also, I have some selfish reasons to be here before I go. And Cass, both of these guys are in the home league, Cass and Michael, but they're on the spot now, so they have to answer,
Wow.
and they have to answer correctly. All right. Should
Fuck yeah.
should I trade Puka? Like you guys know the deal. So I'm in seventh place, third in the league in points, 8 behind this fucker right here, Cass. 8 points behind him. 3 point. I'm playing. I'm in seventh. I'm playing the 6th seed this week. All right, and Chris Olave is on a bye, so I'd have to start Romeo Dobbs in place of Puka Nakua, who I would trade straight up for Chris Olave. That's on the table right now. Would you guys trade Puka Nakua straight up for Chris Olave?
I prefer
Probably
Chris
not.
Olave rest of season, but you're in a win now type of mode, so it is riskier.
Yeah, because you cannot take that zero.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't. I can't take. I mean, Dobbs is a good matchup against the Chargers, but
He
I
does,
mean,
but he's either going to score a
yeah.
touchdown or end with 2.5.
yeah, that's the only problem with him.
And I think Puka still has pretty like some stuff down the line. You know.
So you guys would stick with Puka?
I'm conflicted, but
I know, me too, man. I've been thinking about this shit all day.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy though.
All right,
I
I
do
gotta
think
go. My next
yeah.
person is gonna get to the Zoom. Peace out, fellas.
Bye
Later,
bye.
Tim. All right, now it's back to just me and Cass.
Yep.
Back to the news and notes as Tim comes to us for advice randomly. This funny guy. All right, where were we? Right, we were talking about the Vikings. T.J. Hawkinson looks like he's going to play. Justin Jefferson is getting in limited practices. We don't know if he's going to play yet, but if he does, fire him up. Right, like
Oh yeah.
obviously, yeah. Okay.
How do you feel about
Um,
Addison if he comes back?
certainly not ideal, especially with Josh Dobbs at quarterback and now Kirk Cousins. Obviously, we know
Right.
Josh Dobbs is like having a Jeremy Lin type run here, and he's been very good, but he's not Kirk Cousins. The true throw value isn't nearly there either. So
Right.
I do think he becomes more of a wide receiver 3 flex play. His outlook is clearly better without Justin Jefferson, but hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, he's able to keep it going because he has had a nice start to the season.
Yeah, for sure.
Garrett Wilson was limited in Thursday's practice with an elbow injury. Saw him like rubbing his elbow and dealing with it during the game, but he stayed in this past Monday night or Sunday night. It was against Las Vegas, so no real concern there. For me, Pat Fryermuth is going to come off the IR. Was a full participant on
Right.
Thursday against the Browns, which is not an ideal matchup for Fryermuth. How do you feel about Pat Fryermuth? If you're tight end needy, are you okay plugging him back into your lineup? You want to wait and see?
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm not like, especially for an position that like tight end, where you can probably stream some guys in a more favorable matchup and more favorable situation. Because like that Steelers offense, they've been winning, but it hasn't been good.
Hmm.
So like Firemouth coming off of an injury and then just uncertain in a bad offense, I'm not super confident just fire him back up. I'm probably trying to stream someone else.
Yeah, I'm not starting a Firemouth
Yeah,
either,
no.
especially with Deontay Johnson, who was sidelined in Wednesday's practice with a thumb injury, seems slightly
Yeah.
concerning. Returned to a full practice today, which makes him a lot more. It seems like we know he's going to play at this point. Robbie Chosen, Robbie Anderson, whatever you want to call him, was released by the Dolphins today.
Oh shit.
If that means anything, I remember when he had that huge year for the Jets. He came out of nowhere. I guess,
Like
I don't know.
like final 3 games, right? It was they were huge with Darnold
Yeah.
rookie year.
Yeah, then he was expected to have like a big year the next year. He was going in like the fifth, sixth round of fantasy drafts. That
Yeah,
did
he had
not
like
pan out.
100 yards, 3 consecutive games to end the season.
Yeah,
It was a big deal.
he was very good. Donald Parham returned to practice today. Gerald Everett did not practice. Everett's been dealing with injuries the entire year. Donald Parham, interesting streaming option against the Packers. If Gerald Everett is out, like, would you start Donald Parham without Gerald Everett or Pat Fryermuth?
Probably Parham.
I kind of lean Parham too, actually.
Yeah,
Um, Khalil Herbert was upgraded to a full participant on Thursday, so he is going to return this week. That's almost
nice.
guaranteed. We don't know how it's going to play out between Herbert, Deontay Foreman, and Rashawn Johnson. Deontay Foreman has been like good to great in the time with that Khalil Herbert has been out with the injury. So we don't know
Yeah.
if Khalil Herbert's going to return to the same workload. I think this is a huge just wait and see type of thing. Do you have
Mm.
any interest in starting either of these guys this week, or how are you feeling about it?
I mean, I'm guessing like some people are gonna need that because we got a bunch of buys. If you have like Bijan Robinson, Alexander Madison, which is very possible, like one in concussion protocol, one in buy, and you have to start running back. There's worse options like Herbert. I think it's a pretty decent plug and play for bye
Mhm.
week because we're getting into buy apocalypse type week. So I'm not against that at all.
All right. Antonio Gibson has not practiced this week, which is not ideal for him. If he
Mm.
doesn't go, Brian Robinson against the Giants could have a huge week, in my opinion. We just saw Brian Robinson catch 6 balls, go over 100 yards receiving, and score a receiving touchdown in a game where he wasn't even effective on the ground. If Antonio Gibson were to miss this game, Are you considering Brian Robinson, say a top 15 running back, like a must start running back against the Giants?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I would too. He has just massive upside if Antonio Gibson's going to miss it. Um,
Yep.
Texans wide receivers, Robert Woods, full practice on Thursday. Noah Brown, one of the best stories in the league the last couple of weeks,
Oh
he
yeah.
did not practice again on Thursday. Now it's back to back days without practicing, which is not ideal. Nico Collins is also expected to return. So Noah Brown's moment of the spotlight might be dwindling here after back to
Mm.
back huge games. I don't know how to feel about Noah Brown. If he does play and Nico Collins plays, what can we really expect from him? Right? Like
Yep.
he's just so risky. I know he's
Because
had
you
massive
got Tank
games,
Dell
but
taking a bunch of targets as well.
yeah, Take Dell's playing nearly every single snap now too. He's
Yeah.
been the wide receiver one on that team. In the backfield, Damian Pierce did not practice again. There's been like it was shady, like the injury to Pierce. People didn't really know how bad it was. Now people are saying it was probably a high ankle sprain since he
Mm.
is has been out this long. Has not practiced this week, so he's looking like he's going to miss week 11 again. Tremendous matchup against the Cardinals.
Yep.
In everything points allowed, true matchup rank for Devin Singletary, who just had the best game by far of any Texans running back, 150 yards and a touchdown. How high are you willing to rank Devin Singletary, assuming Davian Pierce is going to be out?
I mean, he's a super solid RB2. I'm not going full confident in RB1. He is definitely must start, but that's just because most people do two RB spots and a flex, you know. So like you are at least gonna use one of those spots on Singletary. He is for sure someone I'm starting this week. And ranking wise, maybe 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah. I have Devin Singletary in our home league. I'm currently trying to trade
Nice.
him for a wide receiver,
Mm.
but people aren't biting because I have Brees Hall, Ken Walker, and Devon Chain returning,
Oh shit. Oh yeah, you
which
tried
is
to trade me
just
Ken Walker. I remember.
which is just painful for me because I'm trying to move one of these guys, but no one's biting.
Hmm.
Our trade deadline is this Saturday, so I got to get moving.
I mean,
Got to get
outside of
moving.
Achan, like those are super unsexy names to try and trade.
I would say unsexy. Ken Walker's like the number 4 overall ranked running back on the year. He did have a couple
Yeah,
of
but
down
like
games these past couple of
you got
weeks.
the narrative with Charbonnet getting like getting over him on the depth chart, right? Depth chart, sorry. So
Was he
that's
over
like
him on
he's
the
been
depth
the.
chart?
I mean, I don't like have there been official depth charts? I think like workload wise,
A
yes,
workload wise, yeah, he's been playing more snaps in certain games.
yeah.
I think that's
Like
about
last
it
time
for
out.
yeah for the news and notes. There's nothing else unless there's something that you think I'm missing. Nothing else really seems to be notable here.
Mm,
Devon Chain, who I just mentioned,
I
likely
mean, yeah.
to return this week. Yeah, a chain. Everyone or all the doctors and such were saying 4 weeks is ideal here. Um, he's going to be back. He should be back at full strength. I'm plugging him right back into my lineup. I think everyone else who has him should too. Do you have any qualms with just putting a chain back in your lineup?
No, absolutely not. Like if you have him and you see what he does, like you plug him.
All right, there you have it. That is the news and notes segment here. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to be getting into a fact or fiction game. Things like will Jalen Warren and Najee Harris continue to be top 24 running backs and things of that sort. And then we're going to go over rankings and the mailbag questions, of course, for the patrons and by the patrons. You could join us at patreon.com/Broto Fantasy to get in there. Just $3 a month, Discord access, and a lot more. With that being said, download the app, and we'll see you in like a minute if you're listening to the next part of the episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Later.